Man, sad news. Frankie Beverly passed away at 77. And I'm not gonna lie, this one feels a little bit different. I mean, I never met the man, right? I don't personally know him, but I feel like I speak for every Maze, his band, Maze fan, Frankie Beverly fan, when I say that any Maze concert goer, any Frankie Beverly concert goer feels like they know Frankie Beverly. He had that kind of spirit, performance-wise, on stage. You couldn't help but leave a Maze concert feeling better, just feeling better about life, feeling better about your day. Like, he's one of those magical performers. I mean, I remember, the OGs and, my uncles especially talking about how much they loved seeing Maze featuring Frankie Beverly, which is what they called the outfit. It was usually Maze featuring Frankie Beverly or Frankie Beverly and Maze. They would always tell me about how great of performers they are. And I didn't get to see them perform live until way later, like until just a couple years ago. That's when me and my girl went to see Maze featuring Frankie Beverly. Just a couple years ago, we got this shirt, she got the tote bag, and I mean, we had a phenomenal time. And by that time, yes, Frankie Beverly's voice had, he lost something on the fastball. Basically, he couldn't sing as well as he could in the 70s, 80s, or even 90s, early 2000s. But Frankie Beverly and Maze, phenomenal performers. And Frankie Beverly would always be in really good shape. Like, he would break out the sleeveless shirt, every now and then. But it was kind of a thing where everybody who goes to their concerts often wears all white, and he would often wear all white with a baseball cap. But yeah, Frankie Beverly, just great energy, great spirit. Again, his music just makes you feel better, and his performances just make you feel better. So I think that fans from the UK, like Maze featuring Frankie Beverly, was huge in the UK, about almost as big, if not as big as they were in the US. They had a lot of success in the UK, especially towards the end of the 70s and into and through the 80s. But fans from the UK to Philly to the West Coast, and I'm sure many more all around the world, are pretty sad about this news. Now, Frankie Beverly was from Philadelphia, and Maze was a Philadelphia band that in the mid 70s moved from Philadelphia to the Bay Area, California. And he also, was befriended by Marvin Gaye, who then put his band, who at the time was called Raw Soul, as Marvin Gaye's opener. So that was really Frankie Beverly's first huge break, his band opening for Marvin Gaye in the mid 70s. And it was also Marvin Gaye who suggested to Frankie Beverly that they change their name from Raw Soul to Maze. And this band is a hybrid of funk and soul, a little bit jazzy. And I would say the most ubiquitous or the most iconic song from them might be Joy and Pain. Like, that might be the one that non-fans might have heard before. But aside from that, I mean, I love the song Golden Time of Day. That's from their second album that goes by the same name, Golden Time of Day. It was 1978. And their first album, Maze featuring Frankie Beverly, the self-titled debut album, once they had the name change, and that album dropped in 77, that album features the song Happy Feelings. That might be another one of their biggest songs. And you've heard the tune, even if you're not familiar or you don't think you're familiar with the song, you've heard that tune. I mean, 90s rap fans, we heard it on Tupac's Can You Get Away? That was on Me Against the World in 1995. The chorus of Can You Get Away used that Happy Feelings tune. So Happy Feelings was on that debut album, When I'm Alone, Lady of Magic. And those songs, by the way, tell you all you need to know about the energy that Frankie Beverly and Maze bring, like in terms of just the feel-good style of music. Like, I think it was Questlove, fellow Philadelphia native, who referred to it as yacht soul. I think that's what he called it. He said, how a lot of rock fans have yacht rock, where it's just kind of, daytime partying. You could be drinking a beer, drinking a cocktail, margarita, whatever, and you're listening to yacht rock. Well, Frankie Beverly, Questlove called, and I don't know if he was the first to call it this, but he referred to it as yacht soul. And I can see that Frankie Beverly and Maze, they are the types of performers that would be at the Playboy Jazz Festival, something like that, where it's daytime, you got a lot of people people just out on a big lawn, just enjoying the good vibes of a Maze featuring Frankie Beverly concert. It's one of those kinds of things. So again, their first couple of albums were 77 and 78, and they maintained good, solid success and they have a very loyal and appreciative fan base. That's the thing. You're like, it's almost like you're in that Maze featuring Frankie Beverly family. Like, if you know, you know. Like, if you've been to one of their concerts, you know what I'm talking about. And they sustained this success through the 80s, even into the mid 90s. Like, they had a successful 1993 album. And for a band that debuted in the late 70s, 77, 78, they had 2 R&B #1 hits in the mid and late 80s. They had Back in Stride in 1985 and then Can't Get Over You in 1989. So this wasn't like a quick hitter quitter, right? This wasn't somebody who just had a quick ascension and then a quick drop off. No, they had sustained success for over a decade. Quality music, man. Like Frankie Beverly's voice, he just had like a very passionate, soulful voice. And again, that energy on stage, I cannot overstate how integral an ingredient that energy is to the recipe that is Maze featuring Frankie Beverly. And I would say if I had a favorite album, because again, I like those first 2 albums. I like their next 2 albums after that, Inspiration in 1979 and 1980's Joy and Pain. But in 1981, they dropped a live album, a live concert album called Live in New Orleans. And I think that might be my favorite Frankie Beverly and Maze album, because, you know, between the songs and with the interaction with the crowd, you see firsthand and you hear firsthand what they are about. You can hear the crowd's appreciative responses to Frankie Beverly's engagement with them. You hear how he's kind of playing to the crowd in certain parts of the songs and between songs. Great live album. And you know what? They actually premiered a song on that live album, one of my favorite Frankie Beverly and Maze songs, Before I Let Go. Like, that's not on one of their prior albums. That is on the Live in New Orleans album, Before I Let Go. So yeah, rest in peace, Frankie Beverly, man. Like, this was a big one. And I know a lot of people are sad about this news. Like, I remember I used to listen to the Steve Harvey morning show, like in the early 2000s when I was driving. I was in college at the time. And when I would be driving to class, I'd be listening to, you know, to the morning show on 100.3 The Beat, formerly 92.3 The Beat. It's probably something else now. They've had so many shuffles in LA radio. But Steve Harvey would always talk about how great Maze and Frankie Beverly were. Like, he would say, no, y'all don't understand. If you want to talk about one of the greatest performers, period, on the planet, it's Frankie Beverly and Maze. And they were still super active at the time. I mean, they often tour and play at, you know, big concerts. But yeah, I remember Steve Harvey being a huge advocate for Maze featuring Frankie Beverly in the early 2000s. But yeah, they have so many like very pleasant songs. I can't think of too many songs of theirs that's like a downer. Like, they don't have too many downer songs. Like, I'm just gonna kind of read off some of my favorite Frankie Beverly and Maze songs from my Spotify liked list. I like I said, Golden Time of Day, I Wish You Well, and I Need You. Those 2 are from that same Golden Time of Day album. I like Woman Is a Wonder, Ain't It Strange, Lovely Inspiration. That's a pretty cool instrumental. Maze is a phenomenal band, let alone having a great frontman, a great frontman in Frankie Beverly. And Happy Feelings, that's one of my favorite songs from them. From the Joy and Pain album, The Look in Your Eyes, Changing Times, Roots, Joy and Pain, the title track, of course, Southern Girl, and Happiness. All really good songs. And another favorite of mine is Reason. Now, that's different than Earth, Wind & Fire's Reasons. This is Reason, which you could also find at the end of that Live in New Orleans concert album. They close the show with Reason. Listen to that song. Yeah. Rest in peace, Frankie Beverly. If anybody out there watching this video is into Maze and Frankie Beverly, if you've ever been to a Frankie Beverly and Maze concert, let me know what your experience was like. Because again, that's one of those things where either you have done it or you haven't done it. And if you have done it, you'll never forget it. Maze featuring Frankie Beverly is that impactful. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you love music like I do. Rest in peace, Frankie Beverly.